trailing by double figures at one point in that fourth quarter. What impressed you most about the way your team was able to pull this one out?
Obviously the start of the fourth, that crew in there. I just thought in general we were really bothered by them, their physicality in the third quarter. And we tried to keep kind of going into the teeth of it. And, we needed to kind of get our minds back right and embrace it and figure out how to bring our own physicality to the game and just respond. That's what the game was. We knew it's a physical team, and we were not very physical or didn't play with a lot of force in the third, but we did to start the fourth, particularly Dante and Jaden. So.
And with Dante, what can you say about the level you're getting from him really on both ends?
It's just a lot of winning basketball. He's making every type of play, whether it's a dive on the floor, a block, a rebound, a kick out, makes a big shot. So he's doing it all. So.
Chris, just like Jaden's two-way in the fourth, how did you see him kind of really impose his will, on them?
Yeah, I thought he did a good job of surviving a precarious foul situation all game as well. He just uses his length so smart against those guys. They like to hit first on you. He did a phenomenal job. I thought Julius did a really good job on Boncaro too, stood him up. And then, Jaden was just, got a couple big blocks and was super bothersome and just, did all the things that he did. And the good part about it is, he didn't get a lot of shot opportunities today, but he had a huge impact on the game regardless. So.
What do you think of Rudy on the glass tonight? It seemed like one of those nights where he was legitimately very hard to box out.
Yeah, it was great. He was really a force rolling hard. Made multiple efforts on the glass. Played strong. Forced them to foul him, or he finished well.
Ant obviously had that late surge. The one where he goes into the walled up Carter and still finds a way to finish. Is that one of those where you're like, that's what you want? Yeah,
for sure. That's his elite talent, athleticism coming through. But the good thing is he went downhill, and we've been on him to get downhill more in those situations, and he did a good job.
The ball movement in the first half seemed pretty good, and that kind of dried up in the third quarter.
Yeah.
What did you kind of see was plaguing that?
Yeah, I think just got a little stagnant rather, and I think it was just back to some old habits, holding, and they were doing a good job of putting their body on us, and we were fighting that instead of getting off it. I thought there was a lot of early passes, just simple passes that we could make.
Is it a good or a bad thing when your team comes out, maybe because of the Denver game, playing with a lot of joy? Because against this team,
yeah,
the mindset.
It's a good thing, I think, right?
But if they're more easy to muck it up, you did have to do a pretty significant attitude shift after the third quarter.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think our third quarter was related because we were overjoyful. I just think we've played a lot of the season in misery, so it's nice to have some joy. Our guys are enjoying playing right now. They're playing well with each other. They found a good rhythm. I think everybody feels like they found their role. I didn't think the third quarter. I thought it just kind of, we looked a little slow, maybe fatigue. I don't know. There were times in the first half I thought we should have been up, maybe at the half closer to double digits too. And whenever this is a team that fights and they're physical, and whenever you give them a chance to stay close, we haven't beaten them here at 5 years, and every game is like the one we just played tonight. And they've been able to get us in the end. So,
and it does seem like you have a lot of freedom now to you're subbing in pretty continually, even in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any worry about patterns or roles or stepping on anybody.
You want guys who want to be in there at the end. We got a bunch of them, and we've talked about it enough through the whole season that every night's going to be a little different, and you got to give us the latitude to do that. And sometimes we're going to get it right, sometimes we're not going to get it right, and those are bullets for me to take, not them.
Kind of big picture, this had the feel maybe going into that fourth quarter of a game that maybe earlier in the year you guys end up losing.
Yeah.
You find a way to pull this one out. Just kind of thinking globally, what's different about this team right now that enables you to put together a surge like you did in the fourth quarter that was maybe missing earlier in the year.
Yeah, I think we're making more little plays. I think like the Julius putback dunk, maybe earlier in the season we don't run that down and dunk it. Just, kind of making an extra pass and getting on the floor and multiple efforts in and around the boards and be, I think it's just a lot of little things, really. I mean, the big things take care of themselves, but really the little things are what we're doing a better job of,
Kind of speaking to that, Mike was a plus 20. He led the team tonight. Just what did you see from him that caused him to have such a positive impact on the game? I mean,
just, yes. Steady. He knew exactly what was going on defensively for what they were trying to do. Got a lot of clean looks. He got to the paint. He was able to handle the pressure and go somewhere with it, which is key against these guys because they really do pressure the ball well. They're super physical. So, shot the ball well. He's been shooting extremely well. So.
Chris, I don't know if it's joy or misery or whatever, but there's seemed to be with your group in the fourth quarter like a guy would kind of emotionally catch fire, and then others were trying to kind of roll with that, whether it started with Dante, the tip dunk you're talking about. Yeah. That doesn't seem like something if this game happened at the beginning of the season, it would really stand out. Like, is that a signal of kind of the progression of this? Yeah,
I think, at the beginning of the season, I think guys were all kind of worried about themselves, their game, how everything that we did was going to impact them. Some of that's normal in the beginning of a season. I think for us, post-trade, everything was just kind of, up in the air. We were trying to figure it out, and, guys were, we've talked about before, they were bothered by lots of things, and you don't have that connectivity then. It's not selfishness. I think just guys were, like, figuring out how they can get themselves going and how it all meant for them, but it wasn't malicious. It was just had to let go of that and lean into what the team needed, and they've done that.
Kind of going along with that too, you see the bench, and everyone does want to finish the game, but the guys that aren't are still rooting harder than anyone else in that arena.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? And are there certain players that are championing that chemistry and that just teamwork?
Yeah, I mean, we've got great energy on our bench right now, whether the guys are playing or not playing. That's what you want. We've talked about when you enter the playoffs, like, everybody puts everything aside. And we talked about entering the playoffs a number of games ago, and that's the mentality that you have to have. The young guys are bringing an incredible amount of, energy from the bench, support. Joe Ingles is always talking and always positive with people, and, so it's important. Thanks, guys.